What's up, guys? My name is Bright. I want to welcome you to this awesome tutorial, Laravel CRUD operation. Who am I? I am Bright. I'm a software engineer with over 4 years of experience. I have built Laravel packages, and currently we are going to master Laravel. I will explain every single line of code, folder to folder. Remember, Laravel was built using MVC architecture, models, views, controller. I believe you are a little bit familiar with PHP. Nevertheless, I will guide you step by step. What are the prerequisites? A little bit of PHP. Even if you don't know, you can still watch this tutorial. You have your example installed. We can also use SQLite database, which is currently Laravel default database. You have your composer installed. Fasten your seatbelts. Let's get started. I have already structured my folder. We are going to start our Laravel application by cloning the starter templates, saying Laravel. This can only work if you have installed Laravel on your Windows or Mac operating system new, followed by the name of our project. We will call it Laravel CRUD, okay? Hit enter. Okay, we are going to say no, it's asking me to update. For now, I won't do it because it's going to take much of your time. We will say none. We want to start from scratch. We will use best as our test. We don't want any AI. We will say no. Okay, guys, we want to use SQLite as our database. By default, Laravel 12 uses SQLite. It wasn't so in Laravel 9.10. I will also show you how you can switch back if you want to use my SQLite. Sorry, if you want to use my SQL database, I will teach you how to do that. But for now, just hit enter. Okay, guys, it's asking us if we want to run npm install and npm run build. By default, if you hit enter, it's yes. So yes, we want to do that. Okay, guys, now what are we going to do? We are going to cd into our project. Cd, we call it Laravel. Good. Now, you can feel free to use any code editor of your choice. Personally, I love using VS Code. I will open my project using VS Code by just typing code dot. You can achieve this by installing your VS Code, adding it to parts. If you find it difficult doing this, please leave a comment on the comment section. I am willing to help you. We are going to analyze Laravel folder structure. If you look at Laravel very well, you will notice at the top, you are seeing app. When you open the app, you will notice HTTP. If you open the HTTP, you will see you have controller.php. I told you earlier that Laravel was built using MVC, model views controller. So you see controller, you will also see models. If you open the models, by default, Laravel has user.php. who will explain better what you are going to do with models and why models was created and how you will create your personal models. Okay, remember this step-by-step Laravel tutorial where we are going to build a simple CRUD operation. Why does many junior developers struggle in tech industry? Because they have studied the basics of a programming language, but they find it difficult to apply them, to put them together in order to achieve one common thing. For instance, as a junior developer, you can only master a programming language or become familiar with whatever you have been taught by doing what? By applying it, by using it, by knowing how to implement it. With this, believe me, the sky will not just be your limit. Smash the like button and share the video. Now you will see providers, and you will see by default is having app service provider. Now moving forward, you will see database. If you open the database folder, you will see factories, migrations, seeders, and you will also see database.sqlite. Why are you seeing database.sqlite? It's because we are using SQLite database. So if you are using my SQLite, you will not see database.sqlite. We are also going to see how we can move this from SQLite to your MySQL database. I will show you how to do that on your .env. Now, moving further, this is for node applications. We will explain this later. Why is there? But we see public. In public, personally, I love to put all my static files, such as CSS, JavaScript, and my images inside my public folder. You will know how to do this. You will see resources. If you open resources, you will see views folder. If you open your views folder, you will see welcome.blades.php. This is Laravel default homepage. So when you create your Laravel application, the default homepage is welcome.blade.php. You can modify this. You can as well delete it if you want. Laravel gives you the privilege to do whatever you want. That means you are at your own liberty to do whatever you want to do with your Laravel application. Moving forward, you will see routes. If you open the route folder, you are going to see console.php and web.php. In Laravel 10, Laravel 9, you will see api.php. But currently, Laravel said, no, I want the developer to do whatever he wants to do to customly create his api.php if he wants to. You can as well create your web.php and give it any name of your choice and configure it. Laravel will still make use of that. How can you start your Laravel application? You start your Laravel application by running Composer. You say Composer in the same directory, Composer, run div, D-E-V, div. Then you hit enter. Your Laravel application server will be started. Okay, guys, open up the project. What's up, guys? This is your Laravel default homepage. Now, for you to know what is going on over here, you can as well You can modify this. You can delete everything inside this folder. Over here, we can welcome, save, open up your file. As you can see, welcome. We are going to learn how to link our static files. That's our CSS. We are going to use Bootstrap because we want to make use of Bootstrap tables. So open up your browser and type Bootstrap. I have already opened it. Click on the docs. Currently, we are using Bootstrap 5.3. Now, instead of us to copy everything about Bootstrap, we want to copy the CSS, copy the link, open up your browser and paste it. We want to use this file without any data. This will save you. Copy the link, open up the project. Now, back to your public folder. Click on Create New Folder. We will call it CSS. Now, create a new file. We'll call it bootstrap.css. That's CSS extension. Paste the link. Now we have done this, we will link our CSS. But before we do that, I love to structure my code in such a way that even if I am not there, you will be able to understand it. What are we going to do? We'll create a folder inside views. Our folder, we will call it layouts. On the layout folder, we'll create a file called base.blade.php. Hit enter. Now, we are going to link our CSS. Linking your CSS in Laravel is so easy. Asset. Now CSS followed by the name of the file. This CSS is the name of the folder, and this is the name of the file inside the folder. Save the changes. Now, we want to configure our Laravel-based file. Why do we love doing this? It makes the work easy that you don't need to do this on all your files. All the blade files will make use of this particular base.blade.php, which makes the work so easy for you. We'll say at yet, then here we are going to call it content. You can call it any name. I will also show you, in case you change this name, what you are going to do and how you can make use of this. In this particular place, we are now going to link our base.blade.php for our Laravel files to make use of it. Should, in case you create a new file, let's assume login, registration, service page, or contact page, this is the same thing you are going to do. Navigate to welcome.blade, which you can as well change. We are going to say, okay, extend. Now, layouts. This layout you see is the name of the folder, and this base is the name of the file inside the folder. So if you change the name from base to header.blade.html, so this will be header.blade.html. So this base is the name of the file. If we hit the changes and you refresh your page, we don't need this anymore, and you refresh your page, you notice you are seeing document. I will show you how to dynamically call this document, this title. Go back to paste. Over here, you can as well do the same thing at here. We can call it title. If you return back to welcome and as well do the same thing, what we are going to do is section. We call it title. Over here, we are going to say end section. At this particular point, any name you want to give it to, your company name, whatever name you want to give to the page, if it's a login page, login, registration page, that's the same name that will appear at the title. We are going to call here welcome page. Save the changes, refresh the page, welcome page, as you can see. Now, I want us to do something little. We are going to create a navigation bar. Nevertheless, what we are going to do is not a complex application. This is simply for you to master and know whatever you are doing, how to include files. Go back to your layouts folder, create a file, call it navbar.blade.php. If you have any question, feel free to leave a comment on the comment section below. We'll call it navbar container. We'll call your home. It's going to be our home page. Add products. This is where we are going to add our products. So in case you have other files, here can be services. We don't need it for now. Save the changes. We are going to include this on our base. We say at include. What are we going to include? Inside the layouts, we want to include our navigation. The same thing you can do if you create a footer. I am leaving you with this assignment. Create your footer and include it. At the last of this tutorial, we are going to do that. If you get it, just leave a comment on the comment section and say, I did it. If you create your footer and include it and it works perfectly, leave a comment on the comment section below saying, I did it. Save the changes. Refresh your page. As you can see, home, add product, and services. Now, we are going to create another CSS file where we are going to do a little bit styling of our navigation. Why am I doing this? I want to also show that you can include as many CSS files as you want. Go back to public CSS folder, create a file, call it style.css. We will link this style.css link, asset, CSS. Now we have linked our style.css. Remember, any name you give this should also match the same name on your CSS file. Okay. We are moving forward. Our next step will be creating our own controller and styling our form. Okay. I will be closing this. I don't want you to be confused. I want you to focus on what we are doing. If you notice, web.php is housing your welcome routes. We will move this from web.php into the default controller. So if you want to create a controller in Laravel, what will you do? Is simply PHP artisan make followed by the name, that is controller. Now, if you don't want to include your controller inside a folder, it will be followed by what? By controller name. Remember, the first alphabet must start with capital letter. In case you want to include this inside a folder, let's assume we want the folder name to be front end. We can say front end slash. So this front end is the name of the folder, and this will be the name of your controller. In our case, we can call our controller name, we can call it front end controller. I don't know if you are getting along with me. Now, with this, let's go and practicalize what we just did. Open your terminal on the same root directory, PHP artisan make controller. We want to put our controller inside front end folder. We say front end slash the controller name, front end controller. You can give any name of your choice. Just hit enter. As you can see, the controller has been created successfully. How will you have access to this controller? You can simply have access to the controller by navigating into app, http, controllers, then you will see front end. Open it, you will see front end controller. Now you have seen this front end controller. How can you change this and move it into front end controller? Bear in mind, if you delete this and save the changes, you are going to have an error 404 not found. Now, what are we going to do? We will say routes is a get method. If you are into programming, I believe now you know the difference between get, post, put, and patch. Okay, I will explain as we go. Now, over here is going to be our home page. So we'll just leave it with a slash and nothing else. We want to call our controller, which is front end. Make sure you import it over here. It's coming from app, http, controllers. Inside the folder we created it. In case there is no folder, it will simply be front end controller. Now we have done this. I love to structure my folder this way. It's going to be column class. Now we'll call it what? We can call it welcome. I want to give a name, which will also be welcome. So I am welcoming you into this awesome tutorial. You close it. Navigate back into front-end controller, public, function, the name, which is welcome, return, views. Now we say welcome. If you save the changes and refresh your file, you will notice everything is now working again. Please, guys, subscribe to my channel. If you have made it to this point, congratulations. Our next step, as we have studied on how to create your own controller, how to move your welcome page into your controller, we are going to create a new file where we are going to add our product. It's going to be form. We are going to call it add form. Navigate back to the views. Inside the views, you can as well create a file. But this, we are not going to create any folder. We'll just leave our things the way they are. You can also arrange your things, put them folder by folder. Create a file, call it add products form .blades.php. Now we are going to do the same thing. We'll extend its layouts. We want to also give a new title with a section. Is going to be titled add products. Now we have done this. Navigate back to your layouts base. Inside this base, you notice this content. What can you do with this content? Add products, welcome.blade.php. We are going to say, okay, without using the content, watch what happened over here. Our H1 this is our home page. Save the changes and refresh. Do you see what is going on here? This is our home page. Here it is. Now, how can you solve this problem? Instead of doing this, we say a section. This section will call content. If you are following me, you notice that this content is the same name we added here. This title is the same name we added here. In between the opening and closing of this content section, we can as well say this is our home page. Save the changes and refresh the page. As you can see, you can do this in all the pages you are going to build. Now, we want to start our form and also link our form. How can you simply navigate? Before we do this navigation, I want us to a little bit style this particular navigation, okay? It will be unjust for you to do it without making the navigation look nice. Smash the like button, guys. Okay, now go back to public, CSS, style. In this style, we want to do what? We want to grab our navigation. Which name did we call it? We called it navigation container. Now, to style your navigation container, we will say display flex. We want the background color to be black. I just love to use class name. I call it my UI. We say display flex. Align item should be center. We want to just add it to the center. We are not doing more styles. Refresh the page. As you can see, now we just want to grab this list style. We want it to be known, okay? We want it to have a little bit padding. The padding should be 7. Save the changes. Correct. We also don't want text declaration, so we want text declaration to be known. CSS masters, are you here? We want the color to be white. We want it to have a font size of 18. I hope we are not really learning CSS here. I believe before you join this tutorial, you're a little bit familiar with HTML and CSS. Okay, I think this will be okay for now. The next thing we are going to do is to simply come back to get Bootstrap. We are going to get a table. Simply grab the table. Then I'm closing this. Welcome.blade.php. Over here, we are going to display our products. That means all the products we'll add into our database, both the images, will be displayed on this table. So we'll paste this table, save the changes, refresh the page. As you can see, this is our table. Forgive me, we are not styling anything. Share this video, subscribe to my channel. We are going to master so many things. If you're a lover of TypeScript, our next tutorial will be Laravel Initial, that is Laravel React application. You are going to understand how to work with TypeScript in Laravel. Okay, having done this, navigate back to your add product. Over here, we are going to do the same section, content. Our forms will be here. So we can call it form. If you are building industrial application, you know what to do, how you can design it. That is not good for you to just call the form. You can build it as a reusable component. Those are into React, you will know what I'm talking about. You can give it a class so that there will be no conflict of name. So if you're a programmer, we talk about naming convention. Naming convention. Thank you, guys. Now, remember, we are going to make use of image. So we will need multi multi-part form, and the method will be post. Okay. We also need our CSRF token. Why do we use CSRF token? We are talking about SQL injection, preventing of SQL injection. Please, you can do a little bit research on Laravel powerful CSRF token. Okay. Now, our inputs, we will need at least 3 inputs. Okay. This placeholder will be product name. We want to give it a name. It should be name. You can give it any name. I will still guide you. Placeholder. We can call it product price. If you are building an advanced e-commerce application, you will notice that most of your products are having categories. Please, if you want us to build an e-commerce project, if you want it live, Bright is willing. Leave a comment on the comment section. I will be willing to do that for you. From 0 to advanced. Here will be our image. We will call it file. And we are going to have a button and say save. For now, you can't see this because we have not added it to any route. How can we do that? Go back to your web.blades.php, which can be found on the routes folder, and web.php. It's also a get method. We can call it products form. Okay. It's still our product form. Name is also product form. Now, what we can do, navigate back to front-end controller, public function, product form. We say return view. We call it add product form. If you save the changes, navigate back to layouts, nav bar. Now we want to link our product page. We want to make use of route. There are so many ways of doing this, but this is the most advanced way of doing it, and believe me, you enjoy it. Routes. Inside this route is product form. Open up your page, refresh. Now click on add products. As you can see, we are here. This is the beauty of Laravel. The same navigation, any changes you make will automatically reflect in all your pages. And here you see is now add product. On our home page is simply welcome page. Now we want to style our form. Remember, it's not going to be something complex. It's going to be a simple CSS without much styling, just for you to have a look at it, and it will be a little bit nice and not complicated. If you're a beginner, please understand that what makes you perfect is your ability to do what? To continue building. Now, this is our form. I love to give a class. We can call it product form. Okay. Now, product form, remember, we have classics and we have IDs. These are for people studying CSX. We want to say display flex, align item should be center. We want it to flex direction is column. Save the changes and refresh. Okay. For you to know what is going on over here, I want you to have a look at whatever we are doing. If we say background color should be pink, lovers of pink, as you can see, now we want to come back here. Margin weight should be 60%. Don't worry. Margin, we want the margin, the top and down should be 20 PS and auto. Refresh the page. Okay. Grab your inputs. On the input, we want it to have a weight of 80%. And we want it to have the border should be 0.2, solid, want it to be gray. Refresh the page, as you can see. And we also want it to have a little padding of 8. And we want, over here, we want a gap of 7. Save the changes and refresh the page. Okay, we don't like these outline borders. We want to stop the outline border by simply saying outline, we want it to be none. At the same time, we want to style our button. Background color should be black. Padding should be 7. The color should be white. We want the cursor to be pointer. If you save the changes, as you can see, we want it to have a weight of 30%. If it's 80, we can say have a weight of 40%. Okay. Now we want it to have a little bit margin top of 7. That's guys. Okay. Now, what are we going to do? We want to work on our creating of our migrations, which we call this table. I'm going to walk you through on how you can create your table. Then you see how things goes. Okay. For you to create your table, we are going to make use of PHP artisan, the same make. Now, in this make, we want to create both our migration and our models. I love doing that. I can say model, then followed by the name of the model. Remember, in the English language, I remember we studied about singular and plural. So we are going to say products, that is the name of our model, -m. So what we are simply saying here is Laravel create a product model, but in the process of you creating this product model, please use this product model to create a migration for me. Okay? Use the product model to do what? To create a migration for me. That's simply what we are saying. Now, let us practicalize what we just did. Clear the terminal. We say PHP artisan make model product -m. Okay, hit enter. Now the product model and migration has been created successfully. How will you see this? For you not to be confused, we are closing all this. Navigate into app, HTTP. If you notice our models, now we have what we call product models. Initially, it was only user model. Now we have created a product model with just that simple PHP artisan we just executed. Not just that, if you also come to your database migrations, you will notice we now have products table. So this is simply because of the -m, which the M simply means migration. What is migration? Migration simply means a table. Okay, those who are into let's say raw PHP, you want to create your table. So that's simply what we have done. And this is what makes Laravel unique. Laravel makes things very, very easy for you. Now we want to create our table. We say table, followed by the is a string. Now we call it, we'll say its name. Okay, I think I'm correct. Name, yes. Table, we can use integer, we can use any other thing, but we are going to still use string. Is price, okay. One last table. This is purposely for image. We will call it image. You can call it, assuming you are building anything, you can call it profile. You can call it file. Whatever you call it, believe me, you are good to go. Save. If you check below, you will see down. This is purposely for reversing the migration. As you can see, in case you want to reverse something, you will do it. As time goes on, I will explain and teach you how to implement both soft delete. Okay. Now you have done this. Remember, we are using SQLite database. If you open your .env, in this .env, you notice something over here. Database connection, SQLite. Over here, if you change this to MySQL, that means it will use MySQL. I hope you are getting it. If you change this to it will use MySQL. And as you can see, Laravel has already implemented the whole thing for you. Database name, the port, by default, your example is 3306. So these are your database file configuration. This is .env, and it's crucial. It's very important you understand this in this journey as a Laravel developer. Thank you very much. Now we have done all this. We want to migrate our table. How can we migrate our table? We can simply say PHP artisan migrate. This line of code will run on your terminal. Inside your project directory, we run this migration for you. Let's practicalize what we just did. PHP artisan migrate. Hit enter. As you can see, the migration has been executed. How will you know? If you come back to database, and you open this database, you will now see products. In this product, this is the ID, the name, the price, and image. So since we have done this migration, what next are we going to do? Now, we want to add data into the database. Remember, we are going to implement insert data, which is adding data, update data, which is the same as editing your data and deleting your data, which is simply, I don't want to see you anymore. Guys, not you. As for you, I want to see you. I love you so much. Smash the like button and subscribe to this channel. Now, we want to go back to our resource, add products. In this add product, we have already implemented name, which is the same thing on our database. You can see changes if you want to. Here is price, and here will be image. If you save these changes, navigate back to, remember, if you also want the image to be nullable, it's not something compulsory or what we call mandatory something, you can as well do it. And it's very, very simple. How will you do this? It's simply over here. You can as well say nullable. With this alone, in case it's empty, it will generate an error for you. What are we going to do here? Now, come to your model, the product model. On this product model, we are going to do something. These are the files that we want to fill. We are going to say protected. Protected what? Protected fillable. Remember, it's now in form of array. What do we have? We have name, which is the same thing on our tables. We have price, and we have image. Save the changes. Navigate to routes, web.php. Over here, we want to create a route that will handle adding data into database. So this particular route, its work will be add data into what? Into our database. We are going to make use of post method. It's post. Now we can as well call it insert data. Insert data. Insert data. I hope you are following me. Now, this insert data is a post method. Remember, it's a post method. We are simply going to say, okay, navigate back to front-end controller. On this front-end controller, we say public function insert data is going to get a request. I love to use the short name. Over here, remember, this request has been imported by default from Illuminate HTTP, then request. Okay. Now, for us to know that our insert data is working, we can say return data being inserted. Navigate back to your add product form. On the action, we say route, insert data, save the changes, refresh the page, hit save. As you can see, return data being inserted. Now we want to validate our form. Okay, we want to validate the form. We can say validate equal to request validate, close it over here. Name, we want it to be required. Right is also required. Image, let's say the image should we make the image to be required? Is image. Being an image, we also want to allow some files. Not every file should be allowed. Okay, not every file should be allowed on this. Which files do we want to allow? We want to allow JPG. Okay, we also want to allow Webpack extensions. We also want to allow PNG. The same, we want to allow JPEG. So these are the file extensions that we want to allow. So if you want to allow PDF, feel free to include PDF. If it's only PDF you want to allow, feel free to say you want to allow only PDF. Now with this we have just done, what happened here is, if you go back and refresh your page, you hit save, as you can see, nothing happened because the forms are empty. The forms are 100% empty. Now, how can you view the error messages? In case you add the item and now all the forms are empty, what will you do? Go back to your add products. We want to inform the user what is going on. Okay. Now, firstly, we don't want to come back here again. We want to say if condition, if there is a section, this is simply for success message, if you add product and other things. We want to call it success. If there is anything of such, we want to do what? Let's put it inside the label. Now, we want to call the what? We want to call the section message. We say section. Success. Now, should in case we have error for any of these files, we can say, okay, if condition, which condition? If errors, that means has what? Name. Why did we use name over here? Because here is name and we want to target this name. So if it's having this name, what should we do? we can as well say, okay, errors, we say first name. Save the changes. With this we have done, I'm leaving you with an assignment to implement for the price and for the product image. We will do that at the last section of this tutorial. Save the changes. We also want to include background color. We say style. The color should be red. Save. The name field is what is required. So it's not responding back to you that, hey, you have forgotten to fill the name. I hope you are getting the whole scenario. Now we are going to proceed towards inserting data into what? Into database, which is very, very easy. If I say easy, I mean easy. Open up your project, navigate to controller. We are going to remove this for now. We don't need it. Now we are done with our form validation. But there is something I wanted us to do here. We want to call this success message, this particular success message, we also want to call it on all our this. We are going to make it global. So how can we do that? Inside the layout, the navigation, or the base, inside the base, below the base, we want to call our success message. Close it. Please, this is simply what we did. The same thing, we just copied it and pasted it. This makes it global, that the success message will just appear anywhere on your page if you want to. It's not advisable, but this is just for tutorial sake. Go back to your. We are done with the validation, forms validation. We want to insert data into the database. What are we going to do over here? We'll call it new item equal to new. The name is product. That is our model. Make sure you import it. If you come below, you are importing it from app, models, product, which is the name of our model over here. Now, having done that, we want to insert the data into database. We say new data, name, which is the name inside our database, should be equal to the name of the input. In this case, is also name. We want to grab the price, new data. Price should be equal to also the same name inside the input. We call it price. Not just this, we also want to check the image. So we want to check the image. We can do that using if condition. Okay, we want to say if. That means if the user selected the image, if the request has file followed by the file name, which we call it image, if such thing exists, we want to do what? We want to save it inside a folder. On this case, I want to call it path, which is the path where we want to save it. Request. request what? We are requesting for a file. What is the name of the file? Is image. What are we going to do with this image? We want to store it. We say store. We want to store it inside a folder called product. We say product. You can name it anything. Now, and this product must be inside a directory. What is the name of the directory? Public. I don't know if you are getting along with me. Now we have done this, we can now proceed to save. If all these things happen and they are okay, we say, okay, now we are okay with all these things. We want to say new data. We call the image. We say it should be equal to what? The parts. I don't know if you are getting what you are doing here. Having done this, we want to proceed to do what? To say new products, save the data, save function. And if we have done this, we want to redirect the user either to homepage or we can redirect back to stay where you are. But on this case, we want to take the user back to homepage. How can we do that? With a message. We say return, redirect. We want to take you to the homepage and we want you to have a message with, the message should be sources and it should say products added. Save the changes, open up your page, refresh your. Now we want to choose a file. I want to get it inside my products. This is a cable. We just call it USB cable. Okay. The price should be 120. Now hit save. Okay. As you can see, products added. Products added. Now we want to add one more. Energizer. We can call it an Energizer. AA. If you want to buy your Energizer battery, you reside in Ghana, you can contact PJ1 Batteries and Tech. PJ1 Batteries and Tech on 055 754 8921. 055 754 8921. The price, we can say, $80. Hit save. Products added successfully. Okay, now how can we fetch our data to display them? Displaying of your data and also doing what? Deleting and updating data. Navigate, come back to your home page. We can call it data. It's a variable, it's equal to products. We want to get all. You see what makes Laravel so easy? We are saying compact. we call it data. Now, navigate to home, which can be found on resources, views, home. We want to loop through. Remove all this. So we want to loop through. Many people use it for each. I want to be honest with you. For each sometimes can give you some errors in case you don't have any item inside the database. Personally, I love using for X loop. For X loop, we call it data, and here is the item. So we are moving this over here. This is not advisable. You can call the product ID, which will be item. ID is not advisable if you are building a real world application. Don't display the ID. We can as well say item, price. Now we want to display the image, the price. We can as well add the dollar symbol to it. We now want to display the image over here. We can as well say image. I love doing this. So item should, in case the image due to one reason or the other doesn't show up, then we display the name. Now we want to do what? We want to display this image. We can say storage. Okay. Inside the storage, we say URL. Now we want to do what? We want to grab the image. We say item dash, the name is image. For simplicity, we want to add weight. The weight should be 100. We also want to add height, which should be 100. If you save the changes, the image will not show up. I will tell you why. As you can see, the image didn't show up. We'll handle that soon. We can say here item, or we can simply call it ID. Name, price, image, one more, update, the last, delete. Now, over here, we can as well update, the last, delete. Save the changes, refresh. Let's check what is going on. Name, price, ID. We didn't include the name. Here should be name. Save the changes. Refresh. Okay. Now everything is in order. Why we didn't see our image? We have to link it. To link this, we simply say PHP artisan do what? storage link. Running this will simply link your image to your project. Let's try it and see. PHP artisan storage link. Okay. It says it has already done what? It has linked it to our public. Now, let's check. Refresh the page. As you can see, our image has just appeared. Congratulations if you have made it to this point. Believe me, your journey as a software engineer requires continuous practicalization. Continue building projects. Don't care about people mocking you. Don't care about anything. Don't care about making mistakes. No one believed before that I would be a software engineer. Talk less of teaching. So don't give up on yourself. The greatest failure is in you giving up on yourself. Never give up on yourself. If you try it, you are not getting it, try it again. Continue trying. You will eventually get there. Smash the like button. Now, we want to implement updates and delete. The question you should ask is, what are the difference to update data? Is there anything difficult? Believe me, there is no difficulty. So we are going to do just that. Now, for you to know there is no difficulty, create a file, call it update form.blade.php. The same thing we did on add product form. There is nothing new. You can copy. I don't want to waste much of your time. I don't like to copy. I want to teach you things from scratch. But this is simply HTML, which I know you can do it. The same thing we did. Now, what can we do over here? I can as well remove this because I don't see it as something that is necessary. Our files remain the same. We will do 1 or 2 changes over here later. So come back to, we are closing all this. We don't need them for now. What you should do, come back to your web.php route. It will be a get method. We'll call it update form. We want it to get the ID. It's also update form. Update form. Now, you will take this update form, go back to front end controller, public function, update form. We want the ID. This ID, we want to return the ID. If you notice, if we say return ID and you save the changes, navigate back to your update form, the route will be update form, and we want to grab the ID. How can we grab this ID? Now, bear in mind, before you can get this ID, you have to come back to this place, updates, data ID. We'll call it ID, okay, update data ID should be equal to the product we want to find the ID. Okay, now if you are finding the ID, what can you do over here? Let's stop this for now. We want to return view, and is what update form. On our previous tutorial, I used compat. If you notice here, I use compat. I want to show you another way of doing this. We can as well bring the array format and say, we can call it data. It should be equal to update data ID. Then you close it. If you take this data and come back to update form, you can as well call this data. Then we grab the ID. I don't know if you are following along. For you to know what we are doing over here, the update form, we can as well say data followed by the name of the particular product we want to update. We can as well say name. Then you save the changes. Now navigate into welcome.blade.php. What's up, guys? If I'm moving too fast, you can slow me down. Now, I'm under your control. Slow me down, wind me, do whatever you want to do. The most important thing is that you are grabbing what we are doing. Okay, now we want to take the routes, which is updates. Not just that, we need the ID, is item. We take the ID. If you save the changes, if everything works perfectly, now if you hover, you will see the ID is ID2 and this is ID1. Click on it. Now we are inside this form. If you click on save, if no error, there may be likely an error. Okay, reason being that there is nothing we are returning. So what can we do over here? It's also the same page. Sorry guys, that's why it keeps loading. We do over here, we can as well say, okay, we have grabbed the ID of this form and we want to update the data. So over here, we can change this to updates. And now, since we have gotten all these, if you notice what is going on here, this is the name of the item, which is USB cable. And we want to display this. We want to display this inside this, all these inputs. What can we do here? We can say value. It should be data. This name. Value. Data. This should be price. Second, we want to check, are we having an image? Oh, sorry, I added this double. This should be data price. Now we have to check, are we having an image? We can as well check if image, we use if condition. If we have an image, if data, image, that means we want to do what? We want to display the image, which will be storage URL, now followed by data image. We want to add the weight. Weight should be 50. We want it to be a little bit small. Height should also be 50. If you save the changes and refresh your page, okay, they said there is an error. Let's find out what happened. Okay, this should be capital. Save the changes, refresh the page. Okay, this is the image. Now, how can we update this? It's very simple, similar to what we just did on insert data. Okay, we are going to do that right now. Navigate back to web.php. We can as well over here use update or post, but I want to use post route, post. We can call it update data. We are taking the ID, and now we also want to also update data. I like to name is update data. Save the changes. Now move back to a minute. It's like there is an error. No error. Move back to your front-end controller. Over here, we are going to public function. Now we want to update the data. Remember, when you were inserting the data, we make use of this request, and I use this to show you another thing you can do. You can as well use, they are all the same. In the same way, I want to grab the ID. If I use the word return the ID, you see what will happen over here. We will need this. Now, we don't need this anymore. We can say update data. Okay. Now the ID is this. What can we do? If you come back here, you refresh the page. Also bear in mind that your ID is ID1. So since the ID is ID1, if you refresh the changes, remember this is pointing to this ID to grab the ID. So if you click, it's returning the ID. The pop-up is the AI because I disabled the internet for the loading to be faster. Now it's returning the ID what can we do? We are going to grab this ID and use it to validate, checking if this particular product is inside the database. We can say get data to be equal to product where ID is pointing to the incoming ID and is only first. You can use if and else condition if exists and if it doesn't exist. Now, if you notice here, if we want to display this and you save the changes, and refresh your page, if you click submit, now it's showing you the price and the image. Okay, now we want to grab this information and save it. That's to update the data. For me to show you that it's similar to what we just did over here. Similar, no changes. Without wasting much of your time, we can grab all this and now we will simply change it to this and say request So you will simply change to request Now you have done this. Remember what we did? We use this to get the data from the database. Then this name coming from the database is pointing to this coming from the form. The same applies to this. And over here, we want to check if a user wants to still update the email, the image. If you want to update the image, you go ahead. But if you don't want to update the image, then we are going to use the existing image inside the database and just leave things the way they are. Instead of saying product added, we are going to say product updated, okay? Updated. Save the entire changes. Refresh the page. Now, instead of USB cable, we will say USB cable update. Instead of 120, we say 125. We are not going to change the image to show you something, then later we'll come back and update the image. Click on update. As you can see, USB cable update 125, and the image still remains the same. We can as well change only the image. Now, instead of updated, will be like 200. Save the changes. As you can see, the image has changed and the price has also changed. If you have made it to this point, a very big congratulations. Believe me, your journey as a software engineer is with patience and perseverance. Never give up. Now, we want to implement delete data, which is just a few lines of code to delete data, okay? Now, navigate into web.php. We want to delete our data. I want us to make use of get. We'll call it delete. Delete data. It's also going to be delete data. Data. So save the changes. Navigate back to front end. Public function. Delete data. Go back to your web.php. We are going to make use of ID. So we want to grab the ID. Now, over here, we want to take this ID to use it to validate. We can simply say product without missing words. Column, find. We want to find the ID. After getting the ID, we want to do what? We want to delete. If we delete, we do the same. We return, redirect. We want to redirect back to home page with a success message saying product deleted. Now we have done this. Navigate back to welcome.blade.php. On delete, we want to get the route, which is delete data. We also want to get the ID. Now, hit save, refresh the page. As you can see, if we hit delete, our item will automatically be deleted. And you will see a message, product deleted. Congratulations if you have made it to this point. As I said earlier, if you're adding a product, that we need to validate the price. As it is today, we only validated the name. No validation of the price and the image. To them that passed the test, congratulations. Now we will do the same. To validate our image is simply the same thing. There is no difference. And the price, what will you do here? Instead of name, you say price. And has what price? Here, what price? The same you will do to what? To image. Should, in case we added image and say it's going to be mandatory, it will still be image. But our image is not something mandatory. So if you save the changes and refresh your page, you will notice if you hit save, it's now showing you the price field is also what? Is also required, but not showing you the image because our image is not required. For your journey as a software engineer to be successful, master this most important thing. If statements. Because if statement helps you to manipulate, it's just an assumption. I assume that if you don't act this way, you will act this way. If you don't do this, you will do this. So, guys, congratulations and welcome to a journey of success. I salute you. Leave your comment on the comment section. Share this video, like it, and comment any next project you want us to build. From Laravel React application, APIs, the Django, Next, React, or your React Native. Believe me, we can do this together. And I trust you that you are capable. Don't give up on yourself. Don't think you can't do it. You can do this and do it better than anyone. You can even do it better than me. Congratulations. One love. This is Bright C Web Developer. Thank you.